Welcome. So this video is about biwheels. A biwheel is a chart, self-contained chart that has two different natives. For example, a person's chart and a transit chart, or another person's chart, or an event chart. So in version 10 of Shri Jyoti Star, there is three different kinds of biwheels at this stage. There's a circle chart, which can be made to look like Western astrology chart, or it can be in a North Indian format. There's a new biwheel for the South Indian format, which we'll discuss mainly today. And then there's the Sarvata Chakra, which is a nakshatra chart. So basically you can see the two charts, one inside of the other, as the planets move through the nakshatras. If we just select here the biwheel, South Indian biwheel, we get this standard South Indian chart, and up the top here you see number 1. So this means there's one chart. If we click it, then we'll have two charts. At the moment, both the inside and the outside are for the same chart. Now, how do we adjust that? Well, if we click on this, then either we type something of biwheel here, or we select options for selected chart, and we'll see the various options here. In any case, these are the basic South Indian biwheel options, and then there are a few other options which also apply. In fact, any of the options that apply to South Indian charts you find here. So for example, suppose you want to have King Charles III on the inside. Now normally we put the primary chart on the inside. If any of you have seen astrologers in South India drawing charts by hand, they tend to put the chart for the person on the inside, and then round the outside they might put, for example, the Navamsha positions. So if we wanted to do that, then we go to Varga for inside would be the D1 chart, and the Varga from the outside would be the Navamsha chart. And we click done. So now we have his birth chart here on the inside, and then we have the Navamsha chart on the outside. This is a very important technique because yogas that exist in the Navamsha chart, they kind of penetrate through into the Rashi chart. So by presenting them like this, you can see right away without having to, think very much about it. It's really obvious. Let's suppose we want to compare King Charles' chart with, say, Queen Elizabeth's chart. So we go back to the options, and we're going to change this back to the Rashi chart, and then we're going to put the Queen on the outside. So now we have this. This is how the biwheel works. So we can also do things like put a lotus border on it, put the Om in the center, and put the birth data. Now, if we want to adjust the size of the glyphs, we can just right-click, and there's an item, this chart. There are several choices. Maximum size big means the glyphs are as large as they reasonably could be. Then we can have them a little smaller or smallest, or we can equalize the size across all the rashis like this. And then if we want to put degrees, we can go back to this chart and select degrees. You can have small degrees or large degrees, or you can click and you can type in degrees. This is one way of getting it, but it's very convenient. And then you see that there are lots of choices. You can have just degrees, or you can have all kinds of other information next to the glyph. This is tremendously useful, and I personally use it all the time. So for example, we might have the Navamsha and the Nakshatra. So we go like that. So now you see, for example, this is Moon and Rahu in Aries, but the Navamsha is Gemini, and the nakshatra is Ashwini, while Rahu is in Cancer Navamsha and Ashwini nakshatra. So this is just a very convenient way of presenting. There are also aspect lines supported. Here you can choose which kind of aspect line you want. This is the standard Parashari aspects, which are done using the exact calculation from one longitude to the other longitude. So sometimes you get aspects which you weren't necessarily expecting. There are other options. This is for the Rashi aspect or Jaimini aspects. Here it puts both together. This is for sign aspect. This is what you would expect rather than the exact aspects. And then there's a systems approach, which has rather tighter orbs, the Tajika aspects, and Western aspects. Dotted lines are for minor aspects. Solid lines are for major aspects. You can have aspects between the two charts or within the charts. Just click here and go to the options, and you see aspect lines between. So you have a choice of between the outside chart and itself, between the inside chart and itself, between the outside and the inside, or between the inside and the outside. Parashari aspects are directional, while the Jaimini aspects are not. So if we select this out to in, and we click done, you'll see there are now some aspects. This here is the aspect of Mars on this Saturn. Now, the aspects have a certain threshold, because you can have a few strong aspects or you can have many aspects of different strengths. And on the keyboard, you just press Control Shift and then W for widening or N for narrowing. You can do this from the right click. So orbs for aspect lines, widen and narrow like that. So if we widen it a bit, you see more aspects are appearing. And if we continue with the keyboard, because it's much easier, you start getting a lot more aspects. You see, there is an aspect here between Mercury and Venus, but only if we reduce the threshold for the aspects, because some aspects are full and some are close to full and some are just partial. So that's how we work with this particular kind of biwheel. I hope you enjoy it.